an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase converts testosterone into estrogen. So carrying excess weight around the middle is not just a physical issue, it is actively, biochemically converting your testosterone into estrogen in real time, creating a self-reinforcing cycle that becomes progressively harder to break. The third disruptor is poor sleep. The majority of testosterone production occurs during deep sleep, during the slow wave and REM phases of the sleep cycle. Men who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours show testosterone levels equivalent to men 10 years older. That is not a minor difference. That is a decade of hormonal aging compressed into a chronic sleep pattern. And then there is oxidative stress, the cumulative cellular damage that builds from a diet high in processed foods, chronic inflammation, and insufficient antioxidant intake. Oxidative stress directly impairs the Leydig cells in the testes, the cells whose specific job is to manufacture testosterone. When those cells are damaged, output falls. Understanding all of this matters enormously. Because when we talk about a fruit supporting testosterone production, we are not talking about something mysterious or miraculous. We are talking about a specific set of compounds that target one or more of these biological pathways. That is a credible, mechanistic conversation, and it is why the research is worth taking seriously. So, what is it? The fruit that has generated the most compelling research around testosterone support is the pomegranate. And I know your first reaction might be, really? That's it? But stay with me, because biology is genuinely fascinating. Pomegranate is one of the richest sources of polyphenols found in any food, particularly compounds called punicologens and ellagic acid, which are among the most potent antioxidants known to nutritional science. When consumed and metabolized, these compounds do something very targeted. They dramatically reduce oxidative stress throughout the body, including in the testicular tissue, where Leydig cells produce testosterone. A study published in a peer-reviewed endocrinology journal tracked men who consumed pomegranate juice daily over a period of weeks. The results showed testosterone increases averaging around 48%. Salivary testosterone, a reliable indicator of free testosterone in the body, was the measurement used. Participants also showed improvements in mood, reductions in blood pressure, and meaningful improvements in markers of vascular health. Now, I want to be straightforward with you because that is what this channel is built on. One study is never the final word. The pomegranate research is genuinely promising and biologically well supported, but it is most powerful when it's part of a broader approach. The men who saw the strongest results were not just drinking pomegranate juice in isolation. They were giving their bodies the full set of conditions that allow testosterone to thrive, which brings me to the 5 factors that actually determine your testosterone levels and where most men are unknowingly losing ground. Factor number 1, chronic stress and the cortisol connection. This is the most consistently underestimated driver of low testosterone that I encounter in my practice. And after 7 years of working with men on this issue, I say that with complete certainty. The cortisol-testosterone relationship is a biological seesaw. When one is chronically elevated, the other is suppressed. And the daily reality of life for many men in their 50s and 60s, financial pressure, health concerns, family responsibility, disrupted sleep, relentless digital stimulation creates a hormonal environment that is persistently tilted toward cortisol. Here is the practical truth. If chronic stress is not being actively addressed, no fruit, no supplement, and no dietary adjustment will fully compensate. Managing cortisol is not a soft wellness suggestion. It is a direct hormonal intervention. What genuinely works: consistent daily movement, deliberate breathing or relaxation practices, reducing unnecessary stressors where possible, time spent in genuinely restorative activities, and protecting sleep as a non-negotiable priority. These are levers that directly shift the cortisol-testosterone balance. Factor number 2, body composition and visceral fat. The aromatase mechanism I described earlier is not a small effect. In men carrying significant visceral fat, the conversion of testosterone to estrogen can be substantial, and it creates a cycle. Lower testosterone makes it harder to build muscle and easier to accumulate fat. More fat drives more aromatase activity. More aromatase means lower testosterone. The cycle feeds itself, but the reverse is equally true. When visceral fat decreases, aromatase activity decreases, and testosterone responds. Men who reduce meaningful amounts of abdominal fat consistently see testosterone levels rise as a direct result without any other intervention. You do not need to become an athlete. You need consistent, progressive resistance training, which builds metabolically active muscle tissue that independently supports hormonal health, combined with a dietary approach that reduces the conditions driving fat storage. Small, sustained changes accumulate into real hormonal shifts over months. Factor number 3, sleep quality. I genuinely wish this received more attention in every testosterone conversation because the research is unambiguous and the impact is profound. Men who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours a night show testosterone levels equivalent to men a full decade older. A decade. That is not a statistical footnote. That is the hormonal equivalent of aging 10 years in exchange for a chronic sleep habit. The pituitary gland releases the hormonal signals that drive overnight testosterone production, primarily during deep sleep. Disrupting that architecture night after night is the same as repeatedly turning off your body's hormone production at its most active window. Protecting sleep is one of the highest leverage things a man can do for his testosterone. Set a consistent sleep and wake time. Reduce screen exposure in the hour before bed. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. And if you have signs of sleep apnea, snoring, waking, unrefreshed, persistent daytime fatigue, please have it assessed. Untreated sleep apnea is one of the most significant and most treatable suppressors of testosterone in men over 50. Factor number 4, micronutrient status. 2 micronutrients consistently show up in the testosterone research with compelling, well-replicated evidence: zinc and vitamin D. Zinc plays an essential role in the hormonal signaling cascade that drives testosterone production. It also helps limit aromatase activity, the enzyme converting testosterone to estrogen. Men who are zinc deficient show significantly lower testosterone, and addressing that deficiency produces meaningful improvements. Vitamin D operates more like a hormone than a typical vitamin in the human body. Receptors for vitamin D are present directly in the Leydig cells of the testes. Deficiency is remarkably common in men over 50, particularly in regions with limited year-round sunlight, and consistently correlates with reduced testosterone levels. Getting both levels tested at your next blood draw is simple, low cost, and potentially very informative. Addressing a deficiency under your doctor's guidance is low risk and can shift things meaningfully. Factor number 5, dietary antioxidant intake. And this is where the pomegranate connects back into everything. The Leydig cells responsible for testosterone production are particularly vulnerable to oxidative damage. A diet consistently low in antioxidants, one built around processed foods, excess sugar, and very few colorful whole foods creates an internal environment where testosterone production is chronically impaired at its source. Pomegranate provides an exceptionally concentrated dose of the specific polyphenols that reduce this oxidative burden directly in the tissues that matter most. But it works best within a broader dietary pattern: colorful vegetables, berries, olive oil, nuts, seeds, oily fish, and a meaningful reduction in ultra-processed foods and excess alcohol, both of which independently suppress testosterone production. The fruit is real, the research is real, but the environment you build around it determines how much of that benefit you actually experience. Let me make this concrete and practical. Start with pomegranates this week. Either the whole fruit or a small glass of pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice every morning. Morning timing is ideal, absorption is most efficient, and the antioxidant compounds can work through the full day. At your next routine blood test, ask your doctor to check your vitamin D and zinc levels. A significant proportion of men over 50 are deficient in one or both. If you are, targeted supplementation under medical guidance is straightforward and often makes a noticeable difference within weeks. Commit to resistance training at least 2 to 3 times a week. You do not need heavy weights or an expensive gym. Body weight exercises, resistance bands, moderate weights, what matters is progressive challenge over time. That stimulus is a direct driver of testosterone and growth hormone, independent of everything else. Treat sleep as a medical priority, not a lifestyle preference. Set a consistent bedtime. Protect the hour before bed from screens and stimulation. Make your bedroom an environment genuinely conducive to deep, restorative sleep, and build something into your daily routine, even 15 minutes, that genuinely and measurably reduces your stress response. Not scrolling, not passive distraction, something that actually shifts your nervous system toward rest and recovery. Before we close, I want to speak to you directly. If you've been carrying a quiet sense that something has shifted, that the version of you that felt energized and capable and like yourself belongs to a chapter that's somehow behind, I want you to hear this clearly. That shift is not permanent. It is not simply the cost of growing older. In the vast majority of cases, it is the result of specific, identifiable, correctable factors that nobody ever sat down and explained to you. The biology was working against you in ways that were entirely addressable. You just didn't have the information. You are not past your best years. You may simply be operating below your biological potential because the conditions that support your hormonal health have been eroding quietly without anyone handing you the tools to reverse it. This video is part of those tools. Testosterone is not just about physical performance. It is about the energy you bring to your day, the clarity in your thinking, the quiet confidence of feeling like yourself, the ability to be genuinely present in your relationships, in your work, in your own life. That is available to you. Not through shortcuts or quick fixes, but through the consistent, intelligent application of what the evidence actually shows. Start with the pomegranate, build from there. Look at your sleep, your stress, your movement, your micronutrients. Make one change